what I'm going to talk about here is something that, like, I've tried to get this through people's heads, but it doesn't seem to really matter. So yes, it's true. It appears that Microsoft might be backing off a little bit on the Windows 11 requirements, right? Like we've seen the stuff that now Microsoft is more or less endorsing the workarounds. But the thing with that is, I think a lot of people don't realize this, and I still get the comments where people say, well, what are you even talking about? What are you blathering on about, you idiot? There's workarounds. You can do this. You can do that. I know this, right? Like, I know this. But Microsoft isn't trying to move the needle with me and you. Anyone that's on this video watching, for the most part, this isn't about us. Microsoft wants the average person that goes into Best Buy and buys a computer, that person, the person who actually thinks that the average computer salesman at Best Buy actually has their, best needs at heart. Look, I'm not saying you don't exist, okay? It's just, I was that guy and I basically got fired for it. So if they're there and they have your best needs at heart, chances are they're not going to be very long. But so those kind of people, the kind of people where Microsoft puts a little message on their computer and says, your hardware is no longer supported. It's those people that just knee-jerk reaction, oh, I must need a new computer. Those people. And I honestly think there are more of those people than there are people that aren't those people. And that's who Microsoft is actually targeting with this. So all of the talk about, oh, there's workarounds this, workarounds that, you can do this, you can do that, none of it really matters. Same thing with Linux. None of it matters at the end of the day. You're going to have a substantial number of people that are going to heed the messages and go buy a new computer. They are going to dump their old computer. They are probably going to take that computer to a recycler. They are not going to load Linux on it and give it to their kid. They are not going to switch to Linux. I'm sorry, guys. I wish this wasn't the world that we were in. I wish the world that we were in was the world in which all of those computers did get Linux loaded on it. Linux may not be for me. I'm not saying it's not for someone. There's a lot of people that would be fine with Linux or maybe even an older version of Windows, although I think Linux might be a better option depending on how old of a version of Windows you have to go. Windows 7 is pretty dicey at this point. I've got a couple of machines with 7 on them, and I wouldn't recommend it for your average person. It's just too much of a hassle. But anyway, I cannot get this through people's heads that this is not about us. This is not about enthusiasts. I don't know how much they care about enthusiasts. I don't want to say they don't care about enthusiasts. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. I don't know. But the primary care is the mainstream user, and that's who this is about. And those users are going to do exactly what Microsoft wants. So at the end of the day, I think we're going to lose, honestly. It may not, maybe we've delayed it. Maybe the backlash to the Windows 11 stuff, maybe it's delayed it. I think it'll have a lot to do with what about next time, right? So when Microsoft inevitably tries to pull the same stunt with Windows 12 or whatever they call it, the question is, how far back do they go? Okay, so let's say, so today, what are we, 2024, almost 2025? I didn't even look at what the release timeline was, what, 2026, 2027 for our next version of Windows. So are they going to require 12th gen? If that's the case, I think it could actually be a bigger deal than the issue we have right now with Windows 11, because the truth is, almost no one actually needs newer than 10th gen, even 8th and 9th gen. I'm not entirely against not being able to run it on 4th gen, 5th gen, 3rd gen, but at the same time, I'm 100% against the arbitrary hardware lockouts. One way or the other, I'm against that. But if they try to make it, if we get to the point where every single time they release a new version of Windows, they don't want anyone running it with more than a 3-year-old computer, especially with how much high-end hardware is out there. For people that spend a couple $100s on a computer, it's not a big deal. But for people who spend thousands and thousands on a computer, for those of us who drop, say, I don't know, my gaming computer, my primary machine, I think the actual cost to build that when I added it all up was like $4,500 or something. Now, granted, a lot of those components are transferable. I could just go new board, chip, and RAM and do that. But that being said, there's a lot of people out there that spent a lot of money on their computer. And if Microsoft really rams it down our throats with every increasing OS, I think it could be a bigger deal than it is today. But anyway, sorry for a little bit of rambling off the deep end there. I hope you guys find this interesting, and thanks for watching the video.